Hello and welcome everybody. This is Tommy Gilmore with Noisy Bird Digital Marketing, and you are watching another episode of Spotlight Southern Utah. If this is your first week here, every week I talk to a different business owner, and this week I'm super excited because I'm joined by Scott from Utah Safe Company. Scott, thanks for letting me come in today.
Yeah, thanks for having this conversation. I'm excited.
Of course. So Scott, Pete, I'm really excited to talk to you because you own Utah Safe Company, but we're also going to be talking about some suicide prevention. That's something that you've kind of headed a cause with that, talking about how safes can help with it. So it will be a little heavier of a topic, but I'm super excited to chat about it today. But just putting a trigger warning in the top that will be a topic of conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
But Scott, tell people a little bit about yourself. You know, how you got into buying or getting a business, how you took that route, and why we're here today.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Entrepreneurship was never part of my plans, really. Growing up, I was around education my whole life. Educators, from grandma to dad, aunts, uncles, everybody was in education. So I kind of geared my life around being an educator and becoming a teacher. When I was going to college, I decided to obviously go get a job to support myself through college and my family. And so I just started working at the local gun range over at Rowdy's and started to really grow into a management position and discovered that I really like business. And so I kind of never really looked into business side. So I took a business class for one of my electives and decided that I really kind of wanted to pursue that just as a side gig as a teacher because teachers make a bunch of money. So let's just try and
have tons of free time.
Yeah,
so
tons of free time. Yeah. So anyways, I decided that I'd kind of look into that side. And after I left Rowdy's because I got a teaching job, I decided that I was going to just see what was out there to do. And somebody asked me, what would you do if you started a business? And at the time, Rowdy's had just started selling safes. And I was like, well, safes would be a good one to sell. It's pretty low key. There's not a ton of customers that walk in on a daily basis. There's not a bunch of looky-loos. And so I'm like, it'd be pretty chill. And so as far as my schedule goes, it's pretty easy because people usually are intentful when they come to buy a safe. And so started that and have been doing this for, Utah Safe Company's almost been 7 years in business.
Okay.
And so we've done a whole bunch of stuff. If you ever go to like the Parade of Homes here in St. George and you see the vault rooms and the safes that are in there, those are usually ours. This next year we've got, I think, 4 homes, anywhere from a custom Ferrari vault door that was $20,000 to just some other unique projects. So there's going to be some pretty cool stuff this next year. So we did stuff like that. And then as I kind of tried to grow the business and kind of look at the different options that are out there, I kind of was talking to some mentors that I have, and a lot of them were like, what are you going to do to grow? What are you going to do that's, smaller or bigger than just the small town St. George? Yeah. And so that's kind of where I started looking out at the different things that are out there and looked at more of like the suicide prevention stuff. I have some close family members and some friends that have different situations with suicide. And so I noticed that there was a gap in what was being offered as far as safes and that relationships between a safe and what it can offer for suicide prevention. And so started kind of getting more involved into that realm. And now we're working with organizations across the nation to help provide safes and open up more of those conversations as far as what a safe can help do for suicide prevention.
That's awesome. As somebody, I've struggled with mental health in the past, and I think everybody kind of hits that point in their life where they're like, hey, maybe maybe life isn't worth living, right? I think many people have had that feeling and that thought. And so maybe talk to people about how a safe specifically can help if you or somebody you love is having those kinds of thoughts or those kinds of feelings. Yeah,
for sure. So been doing a lot of studying on suicide prevention and efforts that are done that way. And one of the things that a study that was done was talking about the 10-minute rule is what they call it. So when someone decides that they're going to commit suicide, there's usually a 10-minute window of when someone can interrupt that train of thought and get them back off of that mindset of that they're going to commit suicide. And so we were trying to think of ways to interrupt that, and that's where safes really step in. A safe is something that either whoever might be in that situation, let's say I'm struggling with mental health and you're my support system, you can come in and change the combination to my safe. I can still kind of have my independence by having my safe and my stuff in my house.
Yeah.
But then I don't have access unless I'm having a conversation with you. Or, having that, even just that step of I'm going to put in the combination to get, my firearm or whatever I'm going to use. That step, stop, think before I make that next, versus just having it out on the open. Having a firearm in your glove box or, under your pillow, under your nightstand, whatever, it's a lot easier to just grab and go versus having to stop and think.
Yeah.
And so that's where we brought in the safe side.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's like you said, it is one extra step away from what could be a tragedy or could result in something that, is a momentary decision that, your people around you are obviously very affected by.
Definitely, yeah. And it's happening more and more, and especially in the different industries. We work in the construction industry a lot. That has the highest rate of suicide compared to any other industry, and so we're really working to try and break that stigma of not having those conversations, not, there's that macho feeling, because, the majority of suicides that happen are for males 35 to 54, or 25 to 54. And that's that macho stage where you're like, I can do it. I can handle it myself. I'm the same with you. I struggle with mental health. And I'm like, when I have a bad time, you're just like, no, I just deal with it because I'm a guy. That's just what we do.
I just put your head down and grit until it stops hurting.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just so many people that's the mentality until it gets too bad. And I mean, we see it. I hear, especially being in this realm, I hear of suicides on a weekly basis for that same kind of thought, as they just never told anybody about it until it was too late. And so we've really been trying to push that in the gun industry realm, since firearms are used usually about 80% of the time for suicide. We're trying to break into that realm and have those conversations more in the construction realm and all these different areas, to just bring up the stigma break the stigma that you have to be in that by yourself. You can get some help, but still enjoy those different things. You can still enjoy firearms. You can still enjoy the different sides, but just being responsible to give yourself, just that extra step in case you do decide to make those decisions. You have something to help kind of give you that extra step, that extra thought.
Yeah. I think that what you guys are doing is great. I think it's really important. And I think the biggest thing that, like you said, is just being willing to be open and honest. Like, I know when I was in that spot, for me, I'm really grateful that I had, my wife to be a support, and I had some family friends that could be a support and things like that, because I wasn't that really negative headspace, and I'm obviously on the other side of that now, but when you're in it, you're just feeling hopeless and lost. And so I think the worst thing you can do is continue to retreat into, hey, I'm just going to put my head down and grit through it. Like, you need to have people that are looking out for you, people that care about you, and people that know, hey, like, Tommy's really struggling right now. You might need a little extra help.
Yeah, that's one of the things. There's a bunch of trainings out there, and one of them is called QPR, which is the first part of that is question. So Q is question. And so having that question and just asking people, how you doing? Like, how are you feeling? It's one of those questions that is so basic that people don't understand actually the importance and what can actually do for somebody to break them out of that kind of mindset of like, oh, I'm good. And you're like, no, like, let's really ask this question and really check in on people, because they need it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of what you guys are doing. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
So to kind of shift away from that a little bit, not to give people whiplash. But as far as what you do, I'm sure that there's been challenges in 7 years as far as like, growing a company, getting involved with this national brand and doing the outreach. Like, for you guys, what's been something that as a business owner, you've overcome that challenge and you look back, you're like, man, we really got through that?
Yeah, I mean, I tell people if I wasn't already bald, I would have been bald by now, because
would have lost all your hair.
Yeah, I would have lost all the hair. I've already got grays that are creeping through that I have to keep pulling out. Business is just tough. It's just, I don't care what business you're in. It's tough, even if it's something that you love doing. I think for me, the biggest thing was my biggest struggle, and the biggest struggle that as a company that we realized was that we're overcoming the thought that we can't do something, that it's outside of our realm, that we're not good enough to do that kind of stuff. We kind of grew with the stigma. Like, I grew up with a single mom. I mean, one of my favorite desserts that I had was saltine crackers with frosting on it, kind of thing. Like, that's how much we could afford. And I'm very grateful for my mom and all that she did, because she gave me such an amazing life, even if we didn't have a ton. But I had that mentality of, I'm this little guy, I'm a nobody. And so as I would go and try and grow my business, I'm like, this isn't who I am. Like, I'm not the guy that can go and sell a $60,000 safe, or I can't go interact with these larger companies because I'm a nobody. Mm-hmm. And then as we got to, we pushed ourselves out of that barrier, we discovered that those guys aren't much different than we are. And most of the time, they're not like you. You've pushed yourself a lot further. They just have more funds and more years ahead of you, and that's about it. And they don't, like, a lot of these smaller businesses, they're bringing in initiative, they're bringing in drive that these bigger companies don't typically have. And so I'm like, now, I'm not afraid to talk to somebody about a $200,000 safe.
Yeah.
I'm not intimidated to go. Like, we go up to Park City quite often and work with these clients that they're 9-figure clients. Like, they have awesome net worth. We've put in safes and penthouses in Park City and the downtown Deer Valley, Park City areas. Yeah. That they're just very, very wealthy people, and I'm going through all the security and everything. I'm like, who am I? I'm this little kid from, I grew up here in Washington City. I'm this little kid from Washington City that's a nobody, and I'm walking through a penthouse in Park City. Yeah. We've done custom stuff for one of the big energy drinks here in Utah. We did a cool custom door for them. We do a lot of stuff for, we do multi-million-dollar homes all the time. And so that mindset of, like, I'm not good enough, I can't do that, we've overcome that. We're like, oh yeah, we can go talk to anybody about anything now. Yeah. It's not that we're nobody, it's like, yeah, that's that stigma of that you're a nobody is just made up in your head. Yeah. Anybody can go sell or talk or do anything to anybody. It's up to your mindset if you can do that or not.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big believer in mindset and like the stories that we tell. That's for me, marketing is just storytelling at the end of the day. That's why I love marketing. And something I had to do to get out of that negative mindset that I had was like to tell myself a different story, because I looked at why the world was against me in a lot of ways. And that has a lot to do with, the way that I was brought up and the way people talked about themselves around me. Yeah. And so I had to learn the story I tell myself is probably true. Yeah. If I tell myself, this is happening to me because I suck, I'm going to believe that. And then I'm going to continue to suck because I think I suck. Yeah. I don't actually. Yeah. But it's the story I'm telling myself. Or if I say, I can build a successful business, I can pull my family out of poverty, I can do these things, I can sell a, $20,000 safe to this multimillionaire person. Mm-hmm. If you tell yourselves those things, that's also definitely true. Yeah. And so the story that we tell ourselves is so important. And so I like how obviously it ties into your business, but it also ties into what we were talking about before. Yeah,
life in general. Yeah, and that's like one of the manufacturers that we carry. They're the ones that they say start out at $40,000, go up to $1.7 million. And we're talking with one of the sales reps, and he's just like, look, he's over in Europe, Asia style, and so he was like, I flew myself to Dubai, excuse me. He's like, I flew to Dubai. And he was like, I was trying to sell safes, and he's like, I didn't know anybody in Dubai, I didn't know what to do. He's like, so I just went and knocked doors. And so he went and knocked on the door for a sheik in Dubai, ended up selling him 6 safes. So him a safe, and then 5 of the other people and his family members. And he's like, it was $1.5 million in sales. And he's like, it took me just going and knocking on the door and asking, do you want a safe? Mm-hmm. And that's what led to that side. And I was like, yeah, no, that's how it is in life. Like you said, you put the limitations, you do what you believe. So if you put your beliefs up there that I'm going to reach this point, you can do it. Yeah. You'll go out there and do the things to get to that point. So,
I love what you're talking about. I think that mindset is such a huge piece for, I mean, any business owner, but really in life.
Yeah.
Like whatever you put your mind to, it's not going to be easy.
No,
but
not at all.
like when push comes to shove, when you're like going through it, the only thing you have is the story you're telling yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, just to kind of wrap things up, you know, I like to ask business owners about the best piece of business advice that they've ever been given. That can be, you know, somebody actually gave it to you. That can be something you read in a book, and, you know, talk about what the advice was and how it's kind of changed your perspective or the way that you run your business.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of the combination of different mentors that I've had, and I've been involved in different, like different communities and, you know, different masterminds. And the biggest thing that I've gotten from pretty much all of them is just think bigger. Like don't just limit yourself, and kind of going after what we talked to. But that was the advice is, once again, I kind of started this business with the mindset of, I'm just going to be the safe dealer here in St. George. Never did I think that I was going to go into trying to build a national brand. And as I've seen more business and as I've evolved and talked with more people that are very successful, then like, go bigger.
Yeah.
Go bigger. Don't just keep yourself here. Go as big as you can. Like, the sky's the limit. Why not go for it? And so that was probably the biggest advice that I have is, go bigger. I didn't think that I was ever going to own a business, and then I owned a business, and I didn't think I was going to go outside of St. George, and now I'm going nationwide. So yeah, go bigger.
I love it. I don't know if you've ever read the book 10X is easier than 2X. A lot of those same principles where it's like you're really limited by your mindset. Yeah. You know, he said most businesses are like, they give this conservative number. I want to 2X next year, or I want to, you know, increase 100%. And you say those things and you're like, okay, what would it take for you to 10X next year? Well, I'd have to redo okay, why don't you?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
go for it. And one of the things that I struggled too was I was starting to look at, you know, okay, how do I go bigger? In my head, I'm like, there's no way I can go bigger. Like, I'm limited.
It's just St. George.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know, like I said, as much as teachers make, I'm sitting there like, okay, I don't even know how to go bigger because I don't have a bunch of capital, and I don't have, like, every dime that's coming in from the safe company is going back into the safe company. And so I'm like, I don't have a ton of funds. And so I was like, what am I going to do? And as I grew into that mindset of go bigger, I found ways to go bigger and go nationwide, and it was within my budget, and it was not that much harder to do. But I just, in my head, I'd got so caught up in just, this is the only way to go nationwide, and so I can't do that. And then as I found other routes, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally can go. And so I guess having that, you know, that mindset of there are ways to go bigger, let yourself think of those ways. Yeah. Don't just be like, this is what I'm limited to because this is my territory and I can't go outside of my territory. No, screw that. You could do that. Yeah. You can go bigger.
Yeah, when you put your mindset at something, I found like your subconscious just starts to find a way. You know, that's where you get those shower thoughts or those like you wake up in the middle of the night with an epiphany. Like
the 1 to 3 a.m. Yeah, every business owner knows you're awake usually at that time because you're stressed about something, and that's where those thoughts usually come in. Yeah,
I mean your subconscious is working on it, or you're consciously working on it. And so even when it's in the back of your mind, like if that's your goal, if your goal is to do this thing and I'm going to freaking figure out a way to do it, like I'm going to run through a wall to do it. Yeah, exactly. And you just have to figure out what that thing is, put your mindset to it, and then like you'll start eliminating possibilities. Yeah. And then eventually you'll find that possibility.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Scott, thanks a ton for letting me come and sit down with you. This has been awesome. Of course. If people want to get involved with it, what's the name of the nonprofit?
So our project for that site is called Safes for a Cause.
Safes for a Cause. Yeah. If people want to learn more about that or you know, maybe get involved with it, what's the best way for them to learn about you? Yeah. So our website is safesforacause.com. So you can go through there. You can come into our shop here. We're just off Red Hills Parkway over by, I always tell people, by the tropical smoothie that keeps getting hit by cars. So drive carefully, but come visit. But yeah, right off of Red Hills Parkway on 1000 East. You can come in and talk with us there. Or you can get involved. There's a lot of suicide prevention coalitions. We're part of a committee at the state of Utah
level, and there are a lot of organizations out there that have a lot of resources, and so being able to reach out to those ones too.
Yep. And then obviously if they're struggling with thoughts of suicide, things like that, 988 is the suicide hotline.
Correct.
Right?
Yep. 988. They're an awesome one. Here in Utah, we have an app called Safe Utah.
That's
or
right.
Safe UT. You can download it. It's in the App Store in both Google and in Apple. You can download that. It's the same concept as 988. It's free, confidential. You can download the app. You can get directed right to a counselor free of charge.
That's really awesome. Yeah. Well, Scott, thanks a ton for your time. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for watching so much. This has been another episode of Spotlight Southern Utah, and we'll talk to you guys next week. We'll be here with another business owner. But until then, we'll see you.